Islamic State's nexus with terrorists in Pakistan has alarmed India. Now, the latest coming in is that Indian intelligence agencies, including the Research and Analysis Wing, or RAW, have alerted the Prime Minister's office and the Ministry of Home Affairs about a creation of a new terror outfit that is a subsidiary of the Islamic State in Pakistan. Its leaders are suspected to have close links with the Pakistani establishment. The report says that recently a group based in the Afghanistan-Pakistan region, also known as the ISIS-Pak region, was recognized as an ally of the IS called Vilayat Khurasan, which literally means Khurasan province. The religious head of the ISIS, Abdul Rahim Muslim Dost, has links with the LET, or the Lashkar-e-Toiba, and its leaders in the tribal areas of Afghanistan-Pakistan region, and also with the military leader Asmatullah Muawiyah, formerly linked to Al-Qaeda, who recently threatened India. Islamic State's proximity with Pakistani terror groups is seen as an attempt to consolidate the ISIS-Pak region and expand its reach beyond Iraq and Syria. Let's quickly go across to Kamaljeet Sandhu. Kamal, what really is the sense within the establishment at this moment? I believe that the Research and Analysis Wing, as well as the intelligence authorities, have briefed the political establishment, have briefed the Ministry of Home Affairs, as well as the Prime Minister's office, that this is one nexus which is posing as a possible threat.
Well, absolutely, Sanket. Vilayat Khurasan, the creation of new group within Pakistan's ISIS-Pak region, is a major cause of concern, and that is what has been alerted to both the Prime Minister's office as well as the Ministry of Home Affairs. But what is new about Vilayat Khurasan is perhaps they don't have the sizable numbers, but they have a potential threat, and this is where ISIS has nexus with Pakistan terror groups. Remember, the WK leadership has a military leadership led by Asmatullah Muawiyah, as well as religious leadership. So obviously they are combining as a potent terror group, and obviously after exit of NATO forces from Afghanistan, the focus is shifting back to India, and that is a major cause of concern for the Indian security forces. Remember, they're joining hands with the TTP. We also believe that they've made peace with the Pakistani army, so they would try with a vengeance to get back, and that is why there has to be an all-high alert at the Indian borders, especially the Kashmir border, at the line of control, and the international border, with a focus coming back onto this particular new group and how it can be potentially very potent as well as dangerous.
Absolutely. Let's also quickly go across to Abhishek Bhalla of Mail Today. Abhishek, if you can hear me, this IS-Pak Taliban joining hands is actually a cause of worry for India. What exactly is the nature of the threat that India is actually looking at?
Well, Sanket, why this report is very, very significant is because Pakistan has been clearly denying any influence of the Islamic State in Pakistan or in the ISIS-Pak region for that matter. But sometime in January this year, the ISIS had officially announced the setting up of this group in the ISIS-Pak region. So this is really very, very surprising that an official announcement made by the media arm of the ISIS a few months back, but the Pakistani intelligence completely ignored it, and it was our agencies, after picking up inputs from their sources, have come up with this detailed report, which also mentions that this new group has links with the Pakistani establishment, and that's a major concern for the Indian intelligence.
I was coming to that
point.
That's
the reason why the Prime Minister's office has been.
I was coming to that point, Abhishek, because you know, we have seen this particular outfit that we are talking about, according to the reports that are coming in, has is working or will work in collusion with the Lashkar-e-Toiba. We know for a fact in the past there have been reports coming in that these non-state actors have been very closely involved with the state actors in Pakistan. So is this not a big cause of worry for the Indian intelligence agencies as well as the Indian establishment, that perhaps this ISIS backing and this nexus with the state actors also in Pakistan will create a very, very deadly scenario as far as terror emanating from Pakistani soil is concerned?
Yes, Ankit, this seems to be the new modus operandi. It's a nexus that the Islamic terrorist groups have created, and Islamic State till now we thought was fighting for the Sunni cause. It was very active in Syria as well as Iraq. But now we see that they want to go beyond that region. They want that the influence of this terror group should reach Pakistan, possibly reach India. In the past, we have seen that there were 4 Indian youth who actually joined the group. There is a lot of buzz on the social media, on Twitter, Facebook, etc., where young youth are getting attracted to this ideology. So they are using all kinds of methods to make sure that the expanse can go beyond North Africa and West Asia.
Right, Abhishek, do stay on with us. Kamaljeet is also on the phone with us. Kamaljeet, now according to the reports, ISIS has named former Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan commander Hafiz Saeed Khan as the wali or the governor, and former Afghan Taliban commander Abdul Rauf Khadim as his deputy. So this is much more systematic. This is not something which is happening underground, something about which people are not talking about, or something which is not known. The Indian establishment seems to be aware of a lot of details regarding this. How likely is it that in the in very recent times we could expect the Indian authorities taking this matter up with Pakistan?
Remember, this is an area which India has issued concerns about. Remember, United States has also monitored the area of FATA as well, where there is a lot of presence of these particular terror groups. But post NATO forces going from there, we've seen an increased activity, new groups like Wilayat Khurasan really coming up. We know that one of the detainees from Guantanamo Bay was shifted to Pakistan custody, and after that he became a religious leader. So yes, this is something which has been not just going underground but very overtly, and we've all been blaming Pakistan for quite some time. In India has also specifically gone ahead and given enough documents and proofs, but DRAW coming up with major specific inputs talking about this particular group coming out to the fore, joining hands with possibly other terror groups, especially the Tehreek-e-Taliban based in Pakistan, as well as Al-Qaeda, and making peace with Pakistani army is a major cause of concern.
Absolutely. Kamalji, do stay on with us. Abhishek, do stay on with us. We have defense expert Mr. Sushant Sareen at this moment on the phone line. Morning, Mr. Sareen. You must have seen these reports that are now coming in. It's also there in today's edition of Mail Today. Your initial reaction to this new nexus?
No, well, it's not really a nexus in that sense. What it is that a lot of the element which was part of the Taliban conglomerate has now shifted its allegiance to the IS. There are also reasons to believe that in some areas the IS, and there are elements of the Al-Qaeda and the Taliban also who might also be working in conjunction with each other. Then there is this whole issue of the Pakistani establishment trying to use the label of IS. Whether that is actually right or not is another matter, but they're trying to use the label of IS to also engineer splits in the Taliban, because the modus operandi of the Pakistani intelligence agencies has been that the moment a terrorist organization becomes very big or a little too difficult to handle, they engineer splits in that organization. And IS seems to be the brand name which has the potential of splitting the Taliban. So a lot of the guys who are now gravitating towards the IS are people who have earlier been with the Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, but now are likely to be used as proxies of the Pakistan army to also queer the pitch for the Taliban, which makes the Taliban much more controllable. And that, of course, because these are proxies of the Pakistani establishment, and the Pakistani establishment considers India an enemy state, there is a natural tendency of these guys to spill over into India.
Mr. Sareen, does this not sound weird, absolutely bizarre to you, that Pakistan will be using the name of ISIS to counter Taliban?
How much does it sound weird to you for a country like Pakistan, which prances about the world as a democracy and all of that, to actually be sleeping in bed with groups like the Taliban? You know, so if they can do that, or they can sponsor groups like the Lashkar-e-Taiba, then what is the big deal of them also playing footsie with groups like the IS?
Now, this, Mr. Sareen, is definitely a very dangerous game. I mean, what you are suggesting with the great amount of, understanding of this subject, if you are suggesting this could perhaps be a case, then this is a very dangerous game that the Pakistani authorities or the state actors might be playing. How worried should India actually be, and what really should India be doing at this moment, now that the matter has come to light?
The issue is not the IS, the issue is not the Taliban. The issue is the kind of radical Islamist philosophy which these groups manifest. And that philosophy comes out of the state of Pakistan. Our problem is not whether you give it the label of IS or some other Islamist organization. That's just a label. The real nub of the problem lies across the Radcliffe line inside Pakistan and in a place called the GHQ in Rawalpindi. Now, until and unless you can actually get down to the root of that problem, all of these are actually manifestations of the inimical nature of the Pakistani state.
All right, Mr. Sareen, many thanks for joining us at this moment. Mr. Hoon is also with us, the defense expert. Sir, your reaction to these stories that are now coming in. Mr. Sareen says that this is, it's a dangerous game that perhaps the Pakistani state actors might be playing.
Well, certainly they are playing it, and they're playing the game for a long time. Even they have objected to our where our Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, everyone will be together in Kashmir. And they are saying, how can we bring Hindus? The whole of India, we've got Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, and this one. Number two is Pakistan is at this game for a very long time, and it's not going to hurt. But it's going to think themselves first and the whole world also. They have got Lakhwid now out. They have got right there. They have got. They are on two fronts. One is wherever they can. The second is they are people, spies all over the world, including here. You know that how they are coming in, and they are the people who want absolutely a Muslim. Are they doing that? What the hell are they talking about? They are not accepting anything. They are sitting on one committee for partition. We were all together. They are saying this, and it's not only that they're affecting us, they're affecting the whole world. They're affecting, you've seen in France, you've seen in...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Lieutenant General Hoon, many thanks for joining us at this moment. Let me quickly go back to Kamaljeet Sandhu, if Kamaljeet is still on the phone line with us. Can you hear me, Kamaljeet?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Now, the point that we are, in fact, getting from most of the experts that we actually spoke to, they say that there could be a deliberate state actor involvement in what is happening in Pakistan to counter the Taliban, to counter, other organizations, use the name of another terrorist organization. Now, Kamaljeet, how more dangerous can it be, not just about for India, but also for Pakistan, a country which has seen the Taliban's rot in Peshawar, in that school, where God knows how many children were literally slaughtered, they were killed, they were toasted. Despite that, Pakistan is willing to take this risk. They're willing to play this dirty game.
As far as Pakistan is concerned, they've always claimed that they have been a victim of terror themselves, but definitely there is a clear establishment of the fact that Pakistan itself, especially the ISI and its army, are involved hand in glove with the terrorists. And that is why we've known that different terrorist organizations have not only flourished but also expanded in Pakistan, clearly with the help of other organizations. And now we know with the Vilayat Khorasan, remember with ISIS spreading its wing and tentacles to Pakistan and Afghanistan region, what has become most focusable now, right, is that not just the Middle East region or not just the North Africa region, but the region of this particular area is back in focus for the ISIS. which is trying to spread its tentacles. And remember, the focus is going to be back to Kashmir, and that is what is going to be a big concern for the Indian Army as well as for the paramilitary at the borders. We've seen certain activities go up, but definitely Pakistan is back to playing its old games. So whether it is mixing with terror groups, whether it is proliferating of these particular terror groups, the Pakistan has always played this double game, one playing a victim of terrorism, on the other hand promoting such groups and obviously getting even with India.
Okay, Kamaljeet, do stay on with us. Let me also get in a word from our strategic affairs expert, Gaurav Sawant, who's now on the phone line. Morning, Gaurav. You must have read these reports. You must have seen these reports. And with your understanding of the subject, do you think that India has a big reason to worry at this moment and also immediately take this matter up with Pakistan?
Well, India has repeatedly taken up terror with Pakistan, but this ISIS threat is something that is clear and present danger already. If you recall, not just the 4 Mumbai boys or the Bangalore techie who was being the spokesperson of ISIS, lone wolf attacks are a major cause for concern. Amrullah Saleh, who's Afghanistan's former national security advisor, I had recently interviewed him, and he very clearly told me that there is no difference between ISIS and Pakistan's ISI, because they are operating in tandem. Pakistan's ISI is nurturing such terrorist organizations primarily aimed at adversaries, whether in Afghanistan or in India. So this is a clear danger, not just of an organized terror attack, but lone wolf attacks like we've seen in Australia, in France, in other parts of the world. That threat is magnified in India, Sanket.
Now, Gaurav, my question to you is this. So far, we have seen, and there are reports coming in, that perhaps there is a degree of fragmentation as far as the Lashkar-e-Toiba is concerned, smaller terrorist organization in Pakistan is concerned, even the way the Al-Qaeda is working and the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan is working. Now, with this particular alliance coming to light, this will also mean that more dirty money will actually go into the hands of these terrorists, and they can plan something even more ruthless.
Spot on there. As far as ISIS is concerned, in the Middle East, they are funded by the oil black market. That is where their main source of income, apart from extortion. If we were to talk about closer home in Afghanistan, it is drug money that funds terror. As far as ISI and Pakistan are concerned, it is not just drugs, it's extortion. It's taking money from the United States and diverting it into terror activities. There is a plethora of ways that terror is funded by Pakistan. Now, as Kamaljeet was rightly pointing out, Pakistan is a victim of terror, but Pakistan is also a state sponsor of terror, and not just in India, but also in Afghanistan. In fact, even China has been suffering Pakistan-sponsored terror, and China, of course, is the only country that has been able to crack down on Pakistan, especially aimed at terror that's aimed at China. As far as India is concerned, one, talking to Pakistan is an option, but weeding out the terror through other means is an option that India should start exercising, and that is what most strategic community experts have been advising. As far as the threat of ISIS is concerned, it is more motivation through the internet, through money, through Saudi-funded or foreign-funded clerics in our country for lone wolf attacks and using misguided Indian youth for terror attacks. That is one big threat.
Absolutely. Gaurav Sawant as well as Kamaljeet Sandhu, many thanks for joining us. Of course, officially on the record and pretty much on predictable grounds, Pakistan is completely denying officially of any such IS-Pak Taliban joining hands. But India seems to have a great degree of detail at this moment. Those reports are out. As far as our Research and Analysis Wing and Intelligence Bureau is concerned, the briefing has in fact been given to the Ministry of Home Affairs as well as the Prime Minister's office. Very interesting to see what really India's diplomatic as well as strategic stand in this case is going to be. All right, we are now joined in by Mr. Hamid Gul, former ISI chief on the phone line. Mr. Gul, your initial reaction to this story, India's major concerns at this moment?
Well, there is a problem for Pakistan as well as for India and for any nation state for that matter in this region, because Daesh does not believe in the geographical boundaries of the nation state, precisely as America doesn't sometimes, because they say that If we have our interest, we will strike wherever we like. And Daesh has already undone the boundaries of Syria and Iraq. They have merged them together, and that they have started calling as the Islamic State. For the difference between the Afghan resistance Taliban, I'm not talking of the TTP or Taliban Pakistan. I'm talking of the Taliban of Mullah Omar. They are bound to their own state of Afghanistan. But some of these people who are under pressure from Operation Zardel, they are now aligning themselves with Daesh, because Daesh has money, they have resources, and they give opportunities for action. So we have had Daesh appoint earlier on a Afghan chapter commander. His name was Mullah Rauf, but he was actually surrounded by the Taliban in Afghanistan, the freedom fighters, and eventually he was killed by a drone attack.
No, but then Mr. Gul, my bigger question here is that you have been the chief of ISI in the past. ISI has been accused openly of indulging in state-sponsored terrorism in Pakistan. We have seen, there are reports coming in even now that this particular alliance is something which is in the knowledge of the state agencies there in Pakistan. Don't you think that then this becomes a very dangerous game, especially in a country which has seen the wrath of the Taliban in the form of that Peshawar school attack?
Usual blame game by the Indian media. This is wrong. Now correct yourself. Daesh is a threat to Pakistan. If it is a threat to anybody else, it is a threat to Afghanistan. And
then why is the establishment in denial?
That's the reason that the ISI should be supporting or even having knowledge of it. In fact, ISI should be protecting our country against...
Sir, what is the position of the Pakistani establishment as far as this AFPAC group being used or this IS-Pak Taliban joining hands is concerned? What is the official view?
Which Taliban are you talking about?
I am talking about Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan.
One Taliban which are sponsored by India in Afghanistan. These are TTP. They are Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, they call themselves. They are fighting the state of Pakistan. And the other Taliban are who are fighting the American
unsubstantiated
forces which are supported by India. Which Taliban are you talking about? Let's be very clear about it first before we go further.
No, Mr. Gul, this is unsubstantiated. In the past also we have seen India has asked for a lot of proof. Pakistan has been not been able to give any proof as far as your allegations are concerned of India-sponsored Taliban. But this is very clear. There is a Pak Taliban, there is an Islamic State alliance that India is now aware of. Those reports are with the Home Ministry. What is the official position? It almost appears that Pakistan agencies, the state, the authorities are living in denial. They don't even accept that something like this has happened.
I think there is a danger to you and there is a danger to us. Now try and understand. I don't know why you are not understanding. You're fooling your own people. Please, for God's sake. I am simply saying that Daesh does not believe in the state boundaries. Pakistan is a nation state, as you are a nation state. Therefore, there is not non-recognition of the boundary. It's a purpose. But as far as the Mujahideen of Afghanistan are concerned, who want to get rid of the occupation forces, and India is right behind them,
well, again, an allegation.
So that's a different thing. That's a different thing.
An allegation which is unsubstantiated.
Daesh is coming in this region, and I have been warning people that, look, Daesh will be a tragedy if they come into this region, because they simply want to. I love Pakistan, therefore why should I be defending Daesh? And why ISI should be defending Daesh? Or be in collusion with them? Nonsense. Now please disabuse yourself of your mind, of your approach about this. Pakistan is not involved in it. Can't be involved in it.
Okay. Mr. Gul, many thanks for joining us at this moment. This is going to be a very, very crucial story, of course, simply because of the nature in which this alliance is being carried out. There are a lot of details. It's there in today's edition of Mail Today on page number 4. Do read to find out all the details. Short break on First Up.